Hey guys, in this video we are going to go over VPN, a site-to-site VPN. That's what we're going to go over because components of a VPN. First we need to start with what is a VPN, guys, right? VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and it is basically a secure encrypted connection. Encrypted means that nobody can identify your traffic. Right, so it is an encrypted connection between networks and remote clients on a public infrastructure to give authenticated remote users and sites secure access to an organization's network and resources. Right, so like where I work, we have 5 sites, and all the sites need to share information, and information that they are sharing or that they are accessing between all those sites. They are sensitive, and since they are sensitive, they need to be secure and encrypted. So that's why we have VPNs between all the sites. Therefore, the hackers cannot intercept. They could intercept the traffic, but they won't be able to read the traffic because it is encrypted and it is secure. So that way, we are able to share our network with all the sites by encrypting it, and by this VPN, virtual private network. And what we are going to be configuring is going to be an IPsec VPN tunnel, and the IPsec VPN solution basically just lets the security gateway encrypt and decrypt the traffic. So whenever they're going to send out, they're going to encrypt it, and whenever they are any traffic that is encrypted arrives, they are going to basically decrypt it. And we are going to use the Smart Console to easily configure VPN connections between the two security gateways, but we're not going to use any remote devices. It is all going to be between the two security gateways. And why do we need VPN tunnels? What does it guarantees? Well, it guarantees authenticity, which uses a standard authentication methods. Privacy. All VPN data is encrypted. If they're intercepted, they won't be able to read it. The only device that can read that is the intended gateway. So if one gateway sends encrypted traffic to the other gateway, the only gateway that is going to be able to read it is going to be the other gateway and the end user, right? And it also provides integrity, which uses industry standard integrity assurance methods. And then IKE and IPsec, we are going to be using both IKE and IPsec to make the site-to-site connection. What IKE does, IKE is basically the first step of creating this VPN, and what IKE does is actually encrypts the communication, so then we can go ahead and encrypt it again with IPsec. So IKE creates a tunnel, that secure connection, and then IPsec goes in and also creates another tunnel, which is going to send the actual data. Whenever we create IKE does not send any data, right? IPsec is the one in charge of sending all the encrypted data. So IKE is only in charge of creating a secure tunnel, and IPsec creates another tunnel, which then sends data. And there are some VPN components that we need to be aware of. One is the VPN domain. What is a VPN domain? Well, VPN domain is a group of computers and networks connected to a VPN tunnel by VPN gateway that handles encryption and protects the VPN domain members. All right. Then we have VPN community, which we are going to be configuring, and it's just a name of connection of VPN domains, each protected by a VPN gateway. So we are going to be creating a community, and you're going to see how that is done. What is a site-to-site VPN? Site-to-site VPN is basically an encrypted connection between two gateways, typically of different geographic sites. So if you are in San Francisco and you have another location in New York and you want to send sensitive information, you can go ahead and create a site-to-site VPN connection, so all your packets are encrypted or all your data are encrypted. Okay, so then we also have two different ways of creating a VPN or a site-to-site VPN. One is a star topology. A star topology is basically a hub and spoke, a virtual private network community with gateways defined as satellites or spokes that create tunnels only with the central gateway, the hub. So we can have a hub, which is a centralized location, and then all the spokes, all the other locations, are going to be making connections between the hub. But the only downside of the star topology is that if the hub goes down, then everything goes down, which is not good, and which is why we are now going to create a star topology. We are going to be creating a meshed topology, and a mesh topology is a VPN community with a VPN domain that creates a tunnel to the other domains, right? So let's say if we have 10 different gateways, they are going to be creating tunnels between all of them, and they're not going to rely on a hub like the star topology does. And for the mesh topology, if one of them goes down, the only one that's going to go down is that communication with that gateway, right? But in the star topology, if the hub goes down, then everything goes down. Something to keep in mind. And what is IKE? IKE is the Internet Key Exchange, and it's an encryption key management protocol that enhances IPsec by providing additional features, flexibility, and ease of configuration. And then last but not least, we have IPsec, and it's a set of secure VPN protocols that manage encryption keys and encrypted packet traffic to create a standard for authentication and encryption services. So now on the next video, we are going to be creating a site-to-site VPN using a mesh topology. Hello guys, in this video we are going to configure a site-to-site VPN. Welcome. So as you can see right here, we have our topology that we're still using, the same one, and what we want to do is we want to say that if traffic is coming out of 192.168.1.0 network, the DMZ, or if it's going to, or if it's coming from the DMZ or the inside zone, I want to, okay, let's try this again. If it's coming from the inside zone or the DMZ zone to the CPGW2 in here to this other network, I want to be encrypted. So these two gateways, security gateways, are going to be forming an IPsec tunnel. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and start. We're going to go to this Windows device, which we already have fired up, and we are in the Smart Console already. So what we want to do first is to go ahead and enable IPsec on both of the firewalls, on both of the security gateways. So we are going to go to CPGW1. You can double click on it, and after we do that, we want to go ahead and enable IPsec VPN. Go ahead and press OK. Then we want to go to the other CheckPoint firewall. You want to double click on it. Hopefully it doesn't do this. Let's go ahead and wait for the program to respond, and there we go. We are going to go to IPsec VPN, check, press OK, and as you can see, when you enable that, you can see, you can see that the active blades, now we have site-to-site VPN activated. So now we can go ahead and start with this. The first thing that we want to do after we enable the IPsec on both firewalls is that we need to go ahead and create a VPN community and add the firewall 1 and firewall 2 objects to it. And from there, we are going to pick if we want to do a star or mesh topology. So to do that, what we want to do is we want to go into security policies. After we go in here, we want to go all the way to the bottom of it. This one right here. VPN communities. And you want to go ahead and create a community. So you want to go ahead and add a new one over here. And you either want to do a star topology. A star topology is basically a hub and spoke. We're not going to be doing this because if a hub goes down, then everything goes down. So the center gateway over here, you will add your hub, and then the satellite gateways, you can add all the spokes over here. So you can only have one gateway, one center gateway, which is a hub, and then the satellites, you can have all of them, whatever you want. You can have hundreds of it, but we're not going to be doing that. We are going to create a mesh community, which is just you know, every one of them are going to have, let's go ahead and select it. Every single one of them is going to basically have the are going to have their own tunnel. So let's go ahead and do VPN meshed. So now over here, we want to add the participating gateways. So we need to go ahead and go to the plus button. We are going to add gateway number 1, and we're also going to have gateway number 2. There we go. So that's how you add that community. Then after that, if you want to go ahead and see the encryption, you can see for the encryption of we're going to use IKE version 1. That's what we're going to use. You can see that the phase 1 for IKE and the phase 2 for IKE, what we are going to be using. You can see that we are going to use encryption algorithm AES 256. For integrity, it's going to be SHA-1, and the Diffie-Hellman group is going to be group 2. For IKE security association phase 2, we are going to use AES 128 and SHA-1 for integrity. So you can go ahead and press OK. We are going to leave everything as the default, and also if you want to go to share secret, right, in share secret, what this does is that instead of configuring the secret for every single one of the gateways, what this does is it's just going to add it to all of them at the same time. So you don't have to manually create over here and then manually add it over there. It is just going to add it all at the same time, just from one utility, which is really, really nice to have. So you can go ahead and press OK. And after you press OK, we are going to have another VPN community. There we go, the meshed VPN mesh that we just created. Let's go ahead and go to policy number 2. Let's go ahead and go VPN communities, and you can also see it here. So they're going to be sharing, both of them are going to get the same VPN communities, as you can see over here. So now the next step is to specify what do we want to encrypt, like what networks do we want to encrypt, or what do we want to protect, what do we want to send via the tunnel. And to do that, we want to go back to the gateway servers. We want to go ahead and double click on this firewall again, and what we are going to be doing is that if you go to network management, if you ever load, there we go, you can see that what's going to be protected are going to be the Ethernet 0 and Ethernet 2. You can see right here that the Ethernet 1 is going to be used for the to go to the outside. But what I want to do is that I want to actually specify that, and the way that you specify what is going to be the link selection, which one is going to be the one that is going to be creating this VPN, you can go ahead to VPN. You can go to, let's go ahead, we are going to network management, VPN domain. And after that, you want to do the manually define. And over here, you want to manually define what you want to have. So the ones that I want to have is going to be 10.1.1.1, because this is for gateway 1, and gateway 1 has 10.1.1.1 over here. And you can also add, let's see, you can also add the 10.1.1.1. Let's go ahead and, is there more objects over here? I don't have. Now let's go ahead and create a new one, a new network. So we can also have the DMZ 192.168.1.0. DMZ network 192.168.1.0. 255.255.255.2.0. So let's go ahead and okay, so let's see this. Let's go ahead and see view details. So let's see what's going on. Okay, so we have that. Actually, let's just go ahead and add for this one to specify which IP to send the tunnel via. Let's go ahead and just do it for the inside network for now, and then so yeah, manually define it, done. So let's go ahead and press OK. We are just going to, I just want to do, instead of the DMZ, let's just go ahead and just do from the inside in the gateway 1 to the inside of the gateway 2, and then we can add the DMZ later. I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and do manually define inside network. Let's go ahead and verify that it is 10.1.1.1. Great. Let's go ahead and press OK. And after we do that, let's go ahead and go to gateway number 2, and we are going to do the same. Not basically the same. It's just that we are going to specify which network do we want to encrypt, right? Which one do we want to send via the VPN domain? So via the VPN domain, I want to add, let's see if it is in here. Yep, there we go. Gateway LAN net 10.1.2.0. There we go. And actually, if you want to include all of them, you can just go ahead and do all IP addresses behind the gateway. You go ahead and do that, and that's fine for gateway number 1. Since we have 2, you can do it like that. But let's just go ahead and leave it from LAN to from inside to inside. Okay, just press OK. That's fine. And then after we do that, we need to also identify the IP or the interface that we want to use for peering. Like which one is the IP that I want to use to connect in this tunnel. And the one that I want to use is going to be Ethernet 1, 20.1.1.1, and Ethernet 1 on the CheckPoint firewall number 2 as well, 20.1.1.2. So these two are the ones that are going to be peering, right? Are going to be making that connection. So let's go ahead and double click on the CheckPoint gateway number 1, back again, and we want to go to IPsec. Let's go into expand IPsec. We are going to, you can see on the IPsec VPN, you can see that we have a meshed VPN mesh in here, that community. Let's go ahead and go to link selection. So in this link selection, we are going to select the address from the topology table, and we are going to select 20.1.1.1 because I want 20.1.1.1 to connect with 20.1.1.2 because the tunnel is going to be in here. All right, press OK. Then we can go ahead and go back to CheckPoint, to the CheckPoint security gateway number 2. Double click on it, and we are going to select which IP address is going to be 20.1.1.2 because these two are going to be forming the tunnel. Since we are going outside, we want to encrypt all our connection between this inside local area network and this other inside local area network, right? So let's go ahead and go to IPsec in here again. You can also see the VPN mesh in here. Let's go ahead and expand it. Link selection, select address from topology table, and let's select 20.1.1.2. Great. So after we do that, what we want to do is that we want to go ahead and we are going to configure a security policy so we can identify what we want to send through the tunnel, basically. So let's go ahead and go to the security policies, and we need to create one for each one of them since we have 2 different policies. So for policy gateway number 1, let's go ahead and go to access control policy. We are going to add it on tab above the, we're going to add a section above the management, and we are going to call this site to site VPN. You can name it whatever you want, it doesn't really matter. Then after that, we are going to add a new rule below, and this rule is going to call VPN. And the source that I want to specify over here, my source is going to be, this is for gateway number 1, it's going to be 10.1.1.0, this network over here. So if it is coming from 10.1.1.0 network, this one over here, inside network, and the destination is 10.1.1.2 or 10.1.1.0, 10.1.2.0. And if it is, let's just go ahead and add ICMP. If it is ICMP protocol, that's fine. If it is ICMP, I want to go ahead and accept it, and I want to also track it. But we are missing something, right? We are missing the community. So how are we going to encrypt it? Now let's go ahead and right click on this, any of this column, either destination or source or services application, and we want to go ahead and add the VPN. And here's where we are going to add the VPN that we want to use. So which VPN community do we want to use? Why can't we see it? It's not letting me. Let's go ahead and remove install on. What if we specify? So if you just go ahead and right click on it, and it's specific VPN communities, and we want to go ahead and add that VPN community that we want, VPN mesh. So if it's coming from the inside source to the outside, or if it is going to 10.1.2.0 network, I want to use a VPN community meshed. And if it is ICMP protocol, I want to go ahead and accept it, and I want to go ahead and track it. So great, let's go ahead and go to policy gateway number 2. And this one is basically the opposite that we're going to do. Let's go ahead and do a section above the management. Let's go ahead and call it site to site VPN. Now we're going to add a rule below that section, and you can call it VPN. The source is going to be, like I said before, it's going to be the opposite. Now it's going to come from 10.1.2.0 to it's going to go to 10.1.1.0. Let's go ahead and add 10.1.1.0. Good. VPN, right click on it, specific VPN. We're going to add the VPN meshed. The traffic that I want to accept, ICMP. Let's go ahead and add the ICMP protocol. The action to accept, and we are going to go ahead and track it. What we want to do is to go ahead and install it. So we are going to go ahead and say install policy, and we're going to install it for policy number 1 and also for policy number 2 as well. So let's go ahead and do that right now, and hopefully we do not get any errors. Hopefully it doesn't crash. You can do it. You can do it. Come on. We saved everything, so now we are going to install it on gateway number 1, and you also need to install it on policy number 2. And then after you install all the 2 policies, one thing that we need to actually verify, since if you go back to the security policies, we are allowing the service of ICMP. And one thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that ICMP, if we go to the objects, that we are allowing ICMP in the global properties. So if you go to the top left, global properties, you need to make sure that ICMP is allowed. This one right here, ICMP request, allow before last, because if they're allowed first, it is not going to go through this policy. So make sure that it says before last and not first. Otherwise, it's not going to work for you. All right. So after we do that, let's go ahead and do an ICMP. So we are going to ping. So we are going to open the command prompt, and we are going to do a ping -n. So this is the number of times that we're going to ping. Let's go ahead and ping 1,000 times, and we are going to ping 10.1.2.1. So we are going to ping from this computer over here. We are going to ping this other device over here, 10.1.2.1, and we are going to form an encrypted connection between gateway number 1 and gateway number 2. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So if you press enter, you can see that the first packet, you see how long it took. It took 760 milliseconds. So it took a while for this to go through, and that's because on the first packet they started doing IKE version. They did the VPN connection with IKE version 1, and then they did the IPsec tunnel. So that's why it took a lot longer than the rest of them. So one thing for us to verify this is that we are going to go into the logs and monitor, and we can go ahead and take a look at this. We can go ahead and get rid of this over here because we don't want to do any source. So we want to see all of it. Come on, okay. So we can see right here the first packet that went in, and this is why it took so long. You can see that it is going to be encrypted via the VPN policy, and you can see that it went through and it did the IKE. You can see the UDP 500. You can see that it was accepted. You can see that there's a key install. So you can see that they are installing keys. You can see that it was decrypted and all of that. And if you want to see more information about this, one way to do it is by opening a new tab. So if you go ahead and open a new tab over here, and we are going to go to the bottom left, tunnel and user monitoring. So from here, it's going to open Smart View, which we have talked about. So from Smart View, we are going to be able to see a lot more information. So if you go to VPNs, you're going to see the VPNs that are up right now. So we can see that we have a VPN status between the gateway number 1 and the gateway number 2, and they are okay. So that's working good. So let's go ahead and select the gateway number 1, and let's go ahead and go to IPsec tunnel. You can see that we have one gateway tunnel up and running. You can see it right here, number 1. We have one tunnel. If we go ahead and press this, you can see more information about the tunnel. You can see that the current throughput, you can see over here. Are we still pinging? We should be, yep, we are still pinging over here. So you can see a lot more information. You can see how many tunnels you have up. You can see that the throughput keeps going up because we are actively pinging right now. And if we want to go and see the one for the CheckPoint gateway number 2, you can go ahead and press over here, and you can see the same information for both of them. So for gateway status, you can see the VPN. If you want to go to tunnels, you can see the tunnels on this gateway. If we want to select the gateway, you can see that we have one tunnel up, and we have it through the VPN meshed. The peer that we are connected to, which is the CheckPoint gateway number 2, is 20.1.1.2, and our source, which is our IP address, is 20.1.1.1, and you can see all that good stuff. And if you want to go ahead and see the tunnels on gateway, and you select number 2, you are going to see the VPN mesh tunnel or community, and you can see the peer is 20.1.1.1, and the source is 20.1.1.2. If you want to see more stuff like tunnels on community, we can select that community, the VPN meshed, which is the one that we created, and you can see that every time you do that, a new tab gets open, right? So you can see right here, it is between the CheckPoint gateway number 1 and number 2. You can see the state is up, the VPN community, the type is just a regular one. And if you want to go ahead and save this, you can go ahead and save it. If you want to monitor of this tunnel, you can do a lot more than just this. And let's see if we have more about VPN. So if you see the system counters, and if you go to the VPN, okay, because we don't have those resources, but that's fine. But there's a lot more stuff that you can do. VPN history, we need to have that blade enable that blade, but you can see a lot more stuff from the CheckPoint Smart View monitor. And you can see every time we open a new a new section got opened. You can see that they're all open over here. So that's how you're able to see more information about the VPN and the VPN tunnel that we created between the checkpoint number 1 and the checkpoint number 2. Hello guys, in this video we are going to go ahead and take a look at the VPN utility. And this VPN utility, you can use it to basically see more information about the VPN connection. You can see the IKE security association. You can also see the IPsec security association between checkpoint 1 and checkpoint firewall 2 and checkpoint firewall 1. So we can do this from the checkpoint firewall command line. So we are going to go ahead and select this checkpoint firewall. I'm already logged into it. So the way that you can get to this VPN is by typing VPN. You can use type VPN TU. And from here, you can see that you have different options, 1 all the way through 0. So the first one is that you can see the IKE SAs. SA stands for Security Association. So you can see that security association between the firewall 1 and firewall 2. And security association is basically the establishment of the shared security attributes between two firewalls. So if you want to go ahead and press 1, you can see that security association, and this is on checkpoint firewall number 1. You can see that we have the peer 20.1.1.2 and the name of the peer, and you can see that security association that they have these two IKE security association. So if you go ahead and press enter, and if you want to see the IPsec security associations, you can see it right here. And what you can also see, you can see the IKE security association, and then you can see the IPsec security association. In here you can see the inbound and also the outbound. You can see who the peer is, checkpoint gateway number 2, and here they are, right? And also if you want to delete any of those IPsec or SAs, you can go ahead and do that. And what's going to do is it's just going to remove it. But if there is a traffic that gets initiated again, it is going to form that IPsec security association and that IPsec security association. So let's go ahead and select option 0 to delete all IPsec plus IKE security associations for all peers and users. So let's go ahead and press 0, and that's going to delete it. Let's press enter. So if you select number 1, you can see that we don't have anything to display. If you select number 2, there's nothing to display. So the way to go ahead and basically rebuild the tunnel is by doing some traffic, by creating some traffic. So let's go ahead and create traffic again. So we are going to ping from this Windows device to this Windows device, and that's going to form the VPN tunnel with IKE and IPsec, and that's going to create that security association one more time. So let's go ahead and ping 10.1.2.1, and there we go. You can see that it took a while right here. So that tunnel was formed on the first packet that we sent. So if we go back to the firewall and we press number 1, you can see that that's IKE security association was created again, and it is a different number because it is a brand new tunnel. It is a different tunnel, therefore the numbers are going to be different. If you want to see the IPsec security association, you can see it right here. And if you want to see it for the checkpoint firewall number 2, you can go ahead and go to that firewall. If you have to log in, go ahead and log in. Hopefully you remember your username and password. Let's see if I remember. It looks like I forgot my password. Let's try it again. There we go. And let's go ahead and do a VPN. TU and we press 1, you can see who the peer is. You can see the checkpoint gateway number 1 SAs, and you can see it over here. So you can see the IKE SA, and if we didn't delete it from here, we only deleted from the gateway number 2, and that's why we still see both of them in here. But eventually the old one is going to expire and it is going to go back down. So that's how you are able to use the VPN utility. So you can see information about the IKE Security Association and IPsec Security Association, and also how you are able to delete either the IPsec Security Association, the IKE Security Association, or both at the same time. And if you delete it, you can just go ahead and rebuild that by creating more traffic to go through that tunnel. Hello guys, in this video we are going to basically activate the monitor blades so we can get more logged information, more information that we can use to basically see what's going on in our network, right? What is going through the firewall, because the more information that we have, the better, right? Because if we have a user that is saying that the internet is really slow for him, you know, it could be that that their user computer was compromised, and that a hacker is basically just using their computer to run like a file share system, and that's why it is taking all the bandwidth and slowing down his computer. So if if that is the case, or to get to that point that you know that that's happening, you do need a lot of information, and you need a lot of monitoring from the firewall to verify that that is actually happening. And the way that you could do that is by, the first thing that you want to do actually is, the way to get to Smart View is by going to the logs, and you can go ahead and press the plus button. Then you want to go into tunnel and user monitoring, and from here it's going to open Smart View in another window, as you can see. And there is some options that you can use without activating the monitor blades. Let's see if the tab interfaces it doesn't let you do that. You can see that it is asking to select the gateway, but since we don't have one with blades activated, you cannot really see that. But you are able to see the gateway status. You can see the VPN, you can see the tunnels on the gateway, you can see the tunnels on the community, you can see a lot of stuff, but you will not be able to see all the traffic because we have not installed the monitor blades on the gateways. And another way to basically open a Smart View, and from here when you open it this way, you're going to be able to see all the gateways, right? But another way to open this Smart View is by going into the gateways, and when you go from over here, it's only going to open for this specific firewall that you select. So for CheckPoint gateway number 1, if you go to monitor, it is going to, if you go to traffic down here, you can see that it connect to the monitoring blade, because we don't have the monitoring blade enabled. So that's why we cannot open some of these traffic from the logs. And then when we went to that bottom left link, we cannot see open any. We could open some of them, like the VPNs status and VPN communities and all that, but we cannot really see the traffic because we don't have the monitor installed. So the way that you do that to install the monitor blades is by double clicking on the firewall, on the checkpoint that you want to install it. So in this case, it's going to be checkpoint number 1, and you want to check the monitoring blades. So you can go ahead and press OK. There we go. So now we have it enabled for the checkpoint gateway number 1. Now we want to go ahead and do the same thing for the checkpoint number 2, and you can see that the active blades, now you can see the monitoring icon showed up. So we can go ahead and do it for checkpoint number 2, and then another icon is going to, you can say okay, another icon is going to show over here, which is monitoring. So we have now the active blades. You can see that we have the monitoring, we have the site-to-site VPN, and we have the firewall enable. After you do that, you want to go ahead and install the policies. We want to install both policies for checkpoint gateway number 1 and also checkpoint number 2, and we are going to take a look at some traffic that we can generate. So let's go ahead and do number 1, and then we can do number 2. And there we go. After the blades have been installed and you publish and install the policy for both of them, now we should be able to just go ahead and right click on one of those. You can go ahead and go to monitor. You can go ahead and go to traffic. In traffic now, you can, oh, this is system counters. You want to go to traffic. There we go. You can see the top services from over here, and this is actually live, real time. This is happening in real time. You can see the top destinations. You can see the top sources. You can see a lot of information from over here. You can see virtual link. You can see packet size distribution, top sources, top services. You can see a lot of stuff from here. So if you want to go ahead and generate some traffic, let's go ahead and generate some traffic so we can see this in real time. So we are going to open the command prompt, and we are going to ping. We are over here 10.1.1.1. We are going to ping 10.1.2.1. So let's go ahead and do ping -n 10.1.2.1, and you can ping. Oh, I forgot to put how many we are going to send. Let's go ahead and send 1,000 pings. So as you can see right here, we are generating some traffic. So you can see now right here that it is going up, it is increasing because this is in real time. That's the top services right now. You can see the echo replies. We are getting a lot of that. You can see the top sources from over here, and this is happening all in real time right now. Okay, so that is what blade monitoring gives you. And if you want to see a lot more information, we can go ahead and go to logs and monitor. Then we can go ahead and go to tunnel and user monitoring, and that's going to open another tab for the smart view. And since we activated now we activated the blade for both of them, and now you can see you have a lot more information over here. You can see the average CPU and all that good stuff on over here. If you want to see the top interfaces for traffic, and if you want to, you can select both of them. Both of them are going to be selected. You can press OK. Okay, so that's going to pull top interfaces. You can see for the gateway number 2. If you want to see it for top interfaces for gateway number 1, we can just select gateway number 1, and you can see right here that it's going to open another tab. So if you want to see both tabs next to each other, you can just have it like that. If you want to see some top security rules, you can go ahead and click on top security rules. You can select any of those interfaces. If you want to have all the interfaces, that's fine. Let's go ahead and select let's say for checkpoint gateway number 1, and that gives you a lot of information. You can also see the packet size distribution. You can see the top voice over IP users. You can see a lot of more information than without having the monitoring enable, because when you have the monitoring enable, you're going to be able to see a lot of information over here. So all those options will be enabled for checkpoint number 2 and for checkpoint number 1 as well. If you want to, you can also see the graphs. If you want to change to a line, if you want to change it to like a pie, you can do that. So you can do a lot of more cool stuff over here. And if you want to also export this view, you can export this view and put it in like a PowerPoint. If you want to do a presentation in a Word document, to document or put in your ticketing system, take a picture. You can do a lot of cool stuff from here. And that is the reason why we should enable that monitoring blade on each gateway if you have the license for it. Suspicious activity. So now we are going to take a look at how we can block suspicious activity with the monitoring blade via the smart view. And let's say that we are going to be blocking a suspicious activity coming from 10.1.1.1 to 10.1.2.1. Let's say that this Windows right over here, we think that it's being compromised by 10.1.2.1, and that the way that it was compromised is that it sends an ICMP or a ping to 10.1.2.1, and just that's how it was compromised. The way that we can block this suspicious activity or suspicious traffic is by using the monitoring blades, and you can do that, like we have done before, by going to the logs, and then you want to go into the tunnel and user monitoring. And this is going to open Smart View. And since we have activated on the previous video, we activated the monitoring blades for the checkpoint number 1 and checkpoint number 2. And since the traffic where we want to check for suspicious activity is going to be on checkpoint number 1, because it is coming from this source, right? We want to block that suspicious activity, that suspicious traffic coming from 10.1.1.1 to 10.1.2.1. So therefore we need to go ahead and do it from the checkpoint gateway number 1. And this is basically like a sub it's like sub settings, or like a sub option that the Smart View monitor has, and it is to suspicious activity. You can add a suspicious activity rules, and the way that you do that is by going to the tab over here, and you're going to select that suspicious activity rules, and you can add a rule over here. And you can also have alerts if we want to add alerts. If you click on alerts, you can add alerts. You can either play a system default beep sound, or you can display alerts window when an alert pops up. But we are focusing on the suspicious activity, so let's go ahead and press over here. So what we want to do is, let's go ahead and check show all checkpoint security gateways. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a basically enforce is SAM rules on all. It's basically like suspicious activity monitoring. That's what SAM stands for. So we are going to enforce a security activity monitoring. So where do I want to apply it? I want to apply it on checkpoint gateway number 1. And what is the source? 10.1.1.1. Gateway the same. Destination is going to be 10.1.2.1. The service now, you might pick another service that you want to choose. If it is like a HTTPS, or if it is like FTP, right? You can monitor that. But for this lab, I want to show you what happens whenever we enable this for ICMP. So before we do that, let's go ahead and create a pin. Since we are in right now, we are in 10.1.1.1. Let's go ahead and do a ping -n, and let's say 1000 to 10.1.2.1. You can see that the traffic is allowed right now. So what we are going to do is we are going to select the ICMP protocol. There we go, ICMP protocol. Press OK, and you can set the expiration. You can do it for the next hour. You can do it for the next day, next 10 minutes. You can do it for next week, for never, which just means that it's never going to expire. Or you can just give it an absolute time. You can specify the date and the time, but we are just going to do it for the next 10 minutes, and we are going to go ahead and enforce it. So we are going to, if there's traffic coming from 10.1.1.1 to 10.2.1 to 10.1.2.1 using the ICMP protocol, we want to go ahead and block this traffic. And there we go. It has created a rule over here, and this rule is basically going to be applied before any policy gets applied. So this is before anything else, right? So just remember that if you enforce suspicious activity rules, it's going to be enforced before all your policies. So since we enforce that, we can go ahead and go to the pings, and you can go ahead and see now that the pings were successful, but they are not timing out because we are enforcing that suspicious activity over here. And if you want to go ahead and remove it, you can go ahead and remove it. And after you remove that, the traffic is going to start to go again. And there it is. So that's how you are able to basically enforce suspicious activities monitoring. And this is only, you are going to be able to do this if you have the monitoring blade installed